Hey there, family. Good evening. Welcome to Midweek Connection. We are so on the go these days that we are literally this evening on the go. But I wanted to take a few minutes to jump in and share a little bit of midweek inspiration with all of you and tell you thank you for being a part of this movement. First Unity Spiritual Campus One Love Consciousness movement. We are consistently putting love, joy, and peace out into the world. I hope you enjoyed this morning's meditation. I really dug that and felt like I was able to personally get a little bit of a breakthrough. Even though I was guiding the meditation, I felt like I was getting a breakthrough. Speaking of guided meditation, there's another option, of course, tomorrow morning. But then tomorrow evening, join us on Thursday evenings for our evening meditation from First Unity Spiritual Campus. And tomorrow evening we have, I believe it's Emmanuel. Bob is going to be on the flute, and Michaela will be on the sound bowl. So it's going to be a sound bath mixed with guided meditation. And those who are in the house and in person will also experience Reiki healing. So it's going to be a wonderful experience. This evening, Carrie is driving, so it allows me to be able to come to you. So I am not driving, just so everybody knows. Carrie is driving and saying hello to everybody. All right, so I have been digging into more and more trying to work with and partner with change because we're experiencing so much of it, and it seems like we're experiencing it rapidly too. Not just First Unity and One Love, but in our political world, in our economic world, we're dealing with change. And I think I've mentioned to you before, more than one time probably, that if you have a problem with change, man, I don't know if I'd get out of bed in the morning, because it is the most consistent thing that happens in our life. Everything around us is changing, and everything right now, it seems like it's warp speed evolution. So we're not experiencing revolution. Some people are calling for a revolution. But as I've said to you before, I know that revolution in its real meaning means to revolve. It means to go around. And I think we've been around and around this system enough, and it's time for us to evolve past it and into a higher way of thinking and being in the world. So change can feel overwhelming. But sometimes the best way to understand it is to dive right into it and really embrace the flow. While we often really hold tightly to our beliefs, true faith allows us to release our grip, to let go of holding so tightly, and just trust that everything's going to be okay. Trust that, you know, the saying that we've had in the church, God's got you, God's got this. There are some things that I'm having to really practice letting go of, because there are things that are happening right now that if I planned it out, it wouldn't be that way. But I know there's something perfect that's coming from it. Living in the moment frees us from the weight of past memories, and it brings us a sense of liberation. Not living in the future, not living in the past. If you are living in the past, you're going to experience regret, self-judgment probably, maybe even further judgment of other people. And if you live in the future, you're more than likely going to live in some level of stress or anxiety or fear. In a world that's full of uncertainties, that very uncertainty itself is the one thing that we can count on. The harder we try to control our lives, the more we're going to find ourselves feeling trapped. We think often that when we build walls, especially what we like to call them boundaries, and healthy boundaries are good, but walls are not good. Because when you build up a wall against a particular group of people or against the change that's coming in the world, you really are incarcerating yourselves. If you look at the wall, you'll understand that the wall is not protecting you. The wall is trapping you. And so the more we try to control life instead of flowing with life, the more we're going to feel trapped. Remember, just because you see a menu, that doesn't mean you've had the meal. It's all about experience. In other words, The menu is not the food, as Alan Watts used to say. The menu is not the meal. When you're looking out at this life that you think you can control, quantify, and measure, you're looking at the menu, and then you fail to experience life. Life is meant to be experienced just like a meal is meant to be eaten. Each of us is really a unique part of the vast universe. We're really a lens through which the universe is observing itself. And it may sound strange to us, but the universe, God, source, wants to experience life through us. And that's what we're doing. We are the lens through which the universe is observing itself. Words and beliefs, especially words, are not just tools to help us understand our relationships with the world and each other, but they can never fully capture the whole truth. That's why it's more important to experience life than it is to explain life. That so many of us are still lusting for some level of certainty and being able to explain and define and confine things. Everything simply exists as it is. And when we look out at the universe, we don't need to compare ourselves with anything or anyone else. We just need to be able to release, let go, and allow ourselves to experience it. So whatever you're experiencing right now, whatever you're feeling right now, whatever is feeling uncertain and you really want deeply to find some level of explanation, just know that there's some things that just happen. I was talking with someone earlier today, and I said, because they were saying that everything happens for a reason. But here's the thing. If everything happens for a reason, then how do we explain the unreasonable? There are some things that just happen. In fact, type that in the comments. Some things just happen. It's not God trying to teach you a lesson. It's not a devil that's fighting you. It's not necessarily you to blame or to be reactive to something. It's not because you did something wrong. I'm reminded of a story in the Gospels where there was a blind man that was brought to Jesus, and the disciples were fighting over who had sinned in order for him to be blind. They were fighting over whether it was mom or dad. Was it the man who was blind? Was it his grandparents? Was it his uncle? Was it some donkey in their stall? They were trying to figure out who to blame for it, and there was no explanation. There was no blame for it. Jesus actually sort of rebuked them, and he said, "Guys, chill out. Honestly, this is an opportunity. This is not a time to judge or to blame somebody for some kind of a sin or a wrongdoing. This is an opportunity to see the glory of God, and that really just means the manifest presence of God be revealed in this particular situation." So with what's happening in the world, not everything is explainable, and some things are just unreasonable. And so it's not necessarily happening for a reason, it's just happening. See, if you're not careful, when you think that life that everything that's happened happens for a reason, you can get to the place where you start to victimize yourself or think that God is in some way punishing you or teaching you some kind of a lesson. And sometimes it's just the way it is. And to be able to say it is as it is, and have faith and trust that ultimately all things are going to work together for your highest good, that attitude will give you the ability to glean some level of wisdom from it. But having faith is like trusting yourself to float in the water. One of the quickest ways to drown is to grasp the water. But if you release yourself to it, you begin to float. A scholar might seek knowledge every day, while a true student of life might focus on unlearning what no longer serves them. So going back to this idea of explanation versus experience, release that need to explain everything, surrender to it. Zen reminds us, the Zen Buddhist tradition reminds us that spirituality isn't about a great or lofty, as they would say, thought. Sometimes it's as simple as being present. As they used to say, be present when you're carrying water. When you're carrying water, just carry water. When you're washing dishes, just wash dishes. When you're peeling potatoes, just peel potatoes. That's a Zen proverb. In other words, there's not some kind of grandiose thought. It's about being present. And real growth comes from transforming our worries into joy. The more we cling to permanence and certainty, the more we risk losing the beauty and the vibrancy of life. Time is an interesting concept, but it's really an illusion. And many of us are afraid maybe that time is slipping away from us. But when we struggle to stay afloat, we tend to sink. But when we relax and we let go, we find ourselves rising really effortlessly because we're putting our full dependence on the universe. And it's almost like we just lighten the load by surrender. Life is not just about reaching a destination. It's not about arriving at some kind of a great level of enlightenment. It's about enjoying the journey. It's like playing a beautiful piece of music, a sonata, without being so fixated on the final note. A song is not meant to have just a beginning and an end. If it just had a beginning and an end, we wouldn't want to listen to the song. There's the ebb and the flow that happens in the midst of it. And the same is true for life. People say they don't want drama in life, and yet people pay dearly to go watch a drama. We pay a lot of money for entertainment, to experience drama. People say they don't like surprises, and yet people go to amusement parks all the time to be surprised. Why do we think it would be any different in life? Life is happening in that way, and it's a beautiful song, and it's a beautiful dance if we allow ourselves to see it. If a problem seems unsolvable, it might be time to rethink the questions we're asking about whatever that problem may be. And then defining yourself can feel impossible. It's like trying to bite your own teeth, as Alan Watts used to say. There's no definition. It's like trying to touch this finger with the tip of this finger. It's not going to happen. There's some things that are beyond our ability to explain, and so we release, and we just see the perfection of life. And when you realize you're just one part of the universe's grand scheme, its grand quilt or tapestry, you start to open yourself up to the endless possibilities, and you really begin to just simply enjoy life. You're not just a body. You are a wave in the beautiful, vast ocean of existence. And when you embrace this, the weight of your worry and your stress starts to be lifted. And so instead of searching for God in temples or churches or synagogues or in the sky, turn your gaze inward. And in that quiet place within you, you'll discover the divine that resides within us all, and ultimately wants us to experience life to its fullest. So while this life right now, and really I think always, is full of questions, I love the root word for question. It means, it's the word quest. And quest can be considered an exciting journey. So instead of trying to figure it out, because you're not going to, surrender to it. Instead of trying to grab a hold and control life, surrender to it. Instead of trying to control your thoughts. That's not going to happen, because even the idea of controlling the thought is another thought. Instead of trying to control your life, allow it to ebb and flow and see how that feels. Life is not meant to be survived. It's meant to be lived. And it's not meant to be complex. It's meant to be enjoyed. One of the things that Carrie and I agreed on when we first got together was that there was two words: simple and allow. And I think sometimes we even forget that, because, she and I work together for First Unity and for One Love and for this life that we're living. She's the very best partner that I have ever had in terms of my calling and what I'm called to. And she has found in the work with me her own calling. And so it's not like she's serving me. In some way, it's a fulfillment to her as well. We didn't know we would complement each other this way, but we do. But even in the midst of that, sometimes we could find ourselves in the complexities instead of the simplicity. And she and I both are learning how to swim in this vast ocean without trying to grasp the water. But we're almost being forced to learn it, because there's been multiple times over the last several weeks that we have sort of felt like we were drowning, and that I think we had to realize we're not going to figure this out. Let me say that one more time. We're not going to figure this out. It's not a mathematical equation. It's life. And life is not meant to be figured out by us. It's meant to be enjoyed and experienced. So we are finding joy in the midst of it. You can find your own internal calm even in the midst of the storm, because you realize really that the storms are absolutely necessary. So you start to become like the sky. The sky doesn't grasp the clouds, and it doesn't dismiss the storms. It allows all of them to come through, and it does not hold to them because it knows that that is coming to pass, just like everything. It all comes to pass. Sometimes it feels like passing a kidney stone, but it all comes to pass. And I guess at the end of all of the rambling this evening, I just want to encourage you that as you're watching the news, as you're seeing what's going on in the world, and those of you who are connected to First Unity Spiritual Campus, as we are in this time still continuing to somewhat transition, there is the opportunity to transform in the midst of this. And what I mean is to be able to transmute all of the energy that feels negative and transmute it into fuel. You are an alchemist, and you can take what seems to be useless and create a beautiful piece of art from it. But it won't happen by trying to control it. It will happen by merging with it, partnering with that energy, and really allowing the beauty of whatever it is to unfold. So that's my encouragement for you this evening. A little bit of a ramble, but it be what it be. Allow yourself to discover the truth of life, just life. That's what I feel so drawn toward these days. Let's just learn how to live this life, and not learn in the sense of going to school, where you can figure it out and now you have a degree in it. I mean, surrender to it and really experience and enjoy life. All right, my friends, I'm going to get up out of here now. Thank you for... I was going to say, instead of walk and talk, we do drive and thrive. So maybe that's what we're doing this evening. I love you much. Again, in the morning meditation, tomorrow evening meditation, and Sunday services, we are working it. That's all I can say is we're working it. And those of you that missed the devotional service this last Sunday, please understand, like literally we ran out of time. It was a much bigger project than we thought. And there was 4 hours put into it the day before, including then that mad dash of trying to make it work within 90 minutes this last Sunday. So 5.5 hours worth of work went into just trying to make the service happen, period. This week, hopefully it's going to be a little easier. We're starting to figure out how to be a pop-up church, how to be mobile. But thank you for your patience. We are going to always do the best we can to bring inspiration to all of you. Thank you for contributing and for being a part of a community that is much bigger than just some kind of a routine church service that happens. Thank you for being understanding. Our core values are love, authenticity, curiosity, radical inclusion, and service. And that's what we're doing. And in that midst of that, we're learning how to be much more flexible. I am becoming a master at mental yoga. Gary's great at yoga, actual yoga. But I'm learning how to stretch emotionally and spiritually. And I'm learning how to appreciate it. Okay, friends, have a great evening. Much love to you.